Hello! So today I'm doing a basic wounds makeup tutorial, and I'm doing it with cheap drugstore makeup because a lot of time like stage makeup isn't very accessible for most people unless you order it online, and obviously not everyone can do that. And I think that learning how to do some kind of special effects makeup will come in useful for cosplay or for Halloween makeup or whatever you're using it for. So I'm just going to do 5 types of wounds. I'm going to do a bruise, kind of a scrape or a shallow cut, a gash or a deep cut, a burn, and a scar. So let's get started. I'm going to start with the bruise because that's going to be the easiest. And I'm going to be using a NYX Simply Vamp lip cream. And this is in Temptress, I think is what the color is called. Yeah, and it's kind of a dark purple color. What you want to find is a purple. I like using a cream for this because it blends easier than like an eyeshadow would, and this isn't shiny or sparkly, so it'll work really well to make a bruise. So I'm using that. Some NYX Nude Matte Eyeshadow in Covet, and this is kind of a dark green color. Then a NYX Hot Singles eyeshadow in STFU, and it's a bright yellow, and I like this one because it's really hard finding like a yellow color of makeup that isn't stage makeup, and this isn't sparkly or shiny, as you can see. Well, I think you can see that on camera. So I'll start just by kind of doing an outline of kind of how I want the bruise with the purple color. And then you just blend it with a makeup sponge or with whatever blending tool works best for you. I'm not going to blend it fully because I'm going to add the green eyeshadow next, and that will kind of help blend out the color and make it a little more natural. Okay, then after that, I'm just going to add a little bit of the yellow. If you kind of look at pictures of bruises, that's kind of the 3 colors that tends to be in it. Kind of older bruises will have a little bit of yellow in them because they're kind of healing up, but they're still a little discolored. And you don't want to put yellow on the whole thing, just kind of on the edge, more on the inside. And then once you've done that, just kind of set it with a little bit of loose powder. That'll make it look more natural and more like it's under your skin. Okay, and there's the bruise. Okay, so next I'm going to do the scrape or the shallow cut. This one's really easy as well. So I'm starting with an e.l.f. lipstick. This is like $1, so it's really affordable. And this color is Fearless. It's a little bit, I would prefer for wounds, not so much a pinkish berry tone. I would prefer kind of more orangey tones, but this works if you're on a budget because it's really cheap and it's a decent color. And I'm just going to take a tiny bit of the purple again, just to kind of add a little bit of depth. And then you want to take a little bit of powder and kind of set that before you add some fake blood. Okay, and so this is what it looks like now. And I made some of my own homemade fake blood instead of using like store-bought fake blood. This is much cheaper. It's just corn syrup, water, food coloring, and then you can add like cornstarch to thicken it, or chocolate syrup, or cocoa powder, which is what I added. And so that's going to kind of be the finished look. So it kind of looks like a bloody kind of scrape. Ordinarily it would look a little bit better. I kind of had issues seeing in this mirror here, but you can kind of get the idea. So now that we've done the scrape, I'm going to do the scar. And for the scar, I'm using, again, my e.l.f. lipstick. That I'm going to use some CoverGirl Aqua Smooth Foundation, and this is in Ivory. This is the lightest color, but it's a little bit too dark for my skin tone. So you kind of want a color that's a little bit darker than your skin tone. And then I'm also going to use just some basic Elmer's liquid glue. So I'm going to do the scar on my neck again. I'm going to just take a little bit of glue on an angle brush. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry before I do anything else to it. And while I'm letting that dry, I'm going to start on the gash, or the deeper cut. So for the gash, you're going to take, again, just your Elmer's glue, some of the red lipstick, some of the purple, the green eyeshadow, fake blood, and some of your foundation. And you're also going to use a little bit of like tissue or really thin toilet paper, and I'll show you the technique for that. So I'm going to get a nice line of glue right here. And before that dries, you're going to take your tissue and just take a small amount and kind of roll it up, or twist it up, I mean. This will kind of create like the outside of the wound, so there's a level where it looks like the skin is raised and there's it's cut inside of that. I didn't describe that well, but. Okay, so now that you've stuck the tissue on there, you're going to put a layer of glue over the tissue. the idea is that you're using the white glue as a replacement for liquid latex, which is what I used in my last tutorial to kind of create a similar effect. But you can use glue, it's a lot cheaper, and it creates a little bit, it's similar, but it's a little bit thinner and it kind of pulls up easier, but it still works just as well. Okay, so now I'm going to let the glue dry, and I'm going to finish up my scar, which is dry now. I'm just going to add a little bit of my foundation over the top to make it look more subtle and like it's blended into my skin. And it's good to use a darker foundation because that'll kind of add to the discolored look of the scar. And then take a makeup sponge and just blend it a little bit. Not a lot though. And there you go, the scar is done. Okay, so let's start on the burn now. I'm going to do kind of a little bit more of a fresh burn. If you're doing like a burn scar, it's going to be a different technique, but I think with the materials I have, a fresher, more recent wound is going to be more realistic. So you're just going to use all the same stuff, pretty much just the Elmer's glue, your red lipstick. Oh, you're also going to use some foundation and fake blood for this as well. And so you're going to, once you get a layer of glue on here, you're going to take some of your tissue and kind of shred it up and then put that onto the glue. So it sticks on and creates kind of an uneven skin texture. Once you're satisfied with the amount of tissue you have on, just cover that again in glue. Okay, now I just have to wait for these two to dry before I can finish them. Okay, so now this wound is dry, this one is almost dry, so I'll just start on this now. So I'm gonna start, I'm just gonna cover it with foundation so it looks like it's the color of my skin. Well, it's a little bit darker, but that's okay because that'll kind of add to the bruised effect. I'm just taking a makeup sponge and I'm gonna pat this foundation on top of all of this. Okay, so once you're satisfied with the amount of foundation, I'm just going to cover it with powder to kind of set it and take away some of the shininess of the glue. Okay, now that that's done, we can start adding some color. I'm going to start with the darkest color first, which is the purple, and I'm going to add that onto the center so it adds some depth and makes it look like this is going inside my skin. And then after that, I'm going to just blend it out a little bit. I don't want to a lot because it tends to take away the color. Now I'm going to add some of the red. This lipstick smells good too. Okay. And yeah, you're gonna want to blend that as well. And I kind of focus the red around the edges, not so much in the center. And now that I've done that, I'm just getting a little bit of green right kind of underneath to add like a bruising effect. This is totally optional as well. Alright, so now that you have that done, you can blend it as much as you want, add as much color as you want. I'm gonna add a little bit more red. Okay, so that's done, and I kind of like how it looks. So now I'm just gonna add the fake blood, and then we'll be all done with that. Okay, so there you have your gash. And this probably would have worked better if I used, if I made the blood a little bit thicker. It would have stuck better, but this is just for videos, just to show you how it's done, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. Okay, now that's mostly dry, so I'm going to do the same thing pretty much. Once you have the foundation, I'm not going to add the purple because I think that this will look more like a burn if it's kind of more red and looks irritated instead of like deep and yeah. And then once you add the lipstick, you definitely want to blend it. And notice this time I'm not putting a layer of powder because burns tend to kind of be a little bit more shiny. So I want the glue to kind of retain some of its shine. So there's that, and now it's really easy. All I do now is add a little bit of fake blood, and I'm gonna blend it in a little bit so it looks kind of shiny and like it's kind of glistening with blood, but not that it's dripping blood. Okay, and there's the burn. So I hope everyone enjoyed this video. I'm done now, and this is just a really easy and simple way to create a few different wounds using makeup, and this is all very cheap and very easy to find all of these supplies. So yeah, thank you for watching, and please subscribe and like this video. Thanks.